So, I'd like to welcome all of you to another great webinar with Consolidated Planning. Today's topic is college planning for students with special needs with Michelle Morris with Consolidated Planning Group. We always have a great experience with Consolidated and appreciate them so much. They give out such good information and are such great partners for us. I am the Region 7 Coordinator for Partners Resource Network. We're the Parent Training and Information Center for the state of Texas. We serve families who have children with special needs up through the age of 26, also self-advocates of any age, as well as professionals who need information in areas related to disabilities.
Fantastic.
And so, of course, you can call on me at any time. My contact information is in the chat. If I don't happen to be in your area, I can get you in touch with whoever does serve your area. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle. Michelle, I appreciate you being here today so much.
Well, thank you, Dee, so much for hosting us again and for sharing our information and sharing your audience with us. We are just delighted to be here and to be able to help and spread the word and help to educate families and advocate for families. So I am Michelle Morris with Consolidated Planning Group. A couple of housekeeping items before we get going. This is being recorded, and we are going to send the slides from this webinar out in an email after everything is done today. We're also going to load the webinar to our YouTube channel, which I will provide information for later. But that's one of the most frequently asked questions. Is this being recorded? Yes, this is being recorded. We will send you the slides. Now, because we're in webinar mode, I cannot see you or hear you, but I'm happy to take any questions that you have in the chat box. Or if you want to put comments or anything like that, feel free to use the chat box. Again, Dee put her information in there already. The information that you see on the screen is for the Consolidated Planning Group office. If you'd like to reach me personally, I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat box. There you go, mmorris@cpgcares.net. So if you wanted to reach me for some reason, there I am. So this should just take an hour or less. We'll be done in plenty of time. So let's do it. Let's do it. So some of the things that we specialize in when you're talking about special needs planning, what does Consolidated Planning Group do? Well, we help families protect themselves and protect their loved ones. We help people think about what happens if something happens to you, and how are you going to protect your income or protect the finances of your family. So we help people come up with protection plans. We do a lot of discussions about lifetime care for children with special needs, especially. What is that going to cost, and how on earth can that be afforded? Transition planning, a lot happens when kids turn 18, and you're all probably in that time frame since you're in this webinar talking about college. And we can help make sure that you've got every box checked that you need to have when it comes to turning 18 and transitioning. ABLE accounts, we can help set that up. And of course, advocacy and education. Like I said, we do a lot of webinars, educational webinars, and put them all on our YouTube channel. We're happy to share as much information as we can, because this is a complex and confusing time, and it's so specialized when you're talking about families with kiddos who have special needs. So we're here to help. So today we're going to be talking about college planning for special needs families. It does say Allison Schaberg down there, but she's sick today, unfortunately. So I get to do the webinar. My name again is Michelle Morris. I live just outside of Houston. Consolidated Planning Group, we serve all of Texas, and even all of the United States if needed. But we're really focused on Texas because, you know, you learn the resources and the programs available in one state. I can't be an expert in all 50 of them. So we really focus on Texas. So let's just get started. No, and Mindy will get to talking about ABLE accounts in a little bit, but you don't need an attorney to set those up. We'll get there. So, you know, when you already know that your life is different, you're in the thick of it, you're living special needs day to day, and you know that things are different already. So when you're thinking about college, we want you to understand that you have to have realistic expectations, and a traditional path might not be right for every single family. It's important to keep an open mind, you know, think about all of your options and consider your options. Now, whatever path you or your child decide to take, we don't want you to compare yourself to others and feel like you're behind. You're not behind, you're just where you are. And we're not here to talk about what you haven't done yet in the past. We're here to say, this is what you can do going forward to help. There are plenty of non-traditional paths out there that you can consider for your family. Transition programs maybe, or certificate programs, trade school, community college instead of a giant state university. Of course, a university degree program is great, but maybe your student decides that 1 or 2 classes just to test the water, just to test the water and see how that goes. There are great internship programs out there, you know, partnering with other organizations and how that all works. You can go through the Texas Workforce Commission with their VR vocational rehab training is fantastic. Just all kinds of different paths that are available, maybe even a career path that might be different. What are the ideal work settings for your child? Do they want to live at home? Would that be better for them, or living on campus, or maybe some kind of a college experience program, which those are also great. There's a lot of options, and we're going to talk a lot about ABLE accounts. I do see the questions coming back up in the chat box, and I will keep answering the questions that you have. If I ignore your question, please don't take offense. It just probably means that I'm going to get to it a little bit further on. So this presentation that I'm going to do today has a lot of links in it. As we go through, we don't work for any of these companies and they don't work for us. And we're not necessarily endorsing any of them, but these are programs and options and companies that we have heard of. And that are out there available as a resource. So when we send the slides in an email this afternoon, you will be able to open those slides and click on any of the links that you see. So that's how we're going to do that. We'll email you the slides later. So there are plenty of post-high school options, day programs, transition programs. These are some of the ones that we know about. Bloom Consulting, we're going to talk a little bit more about them later. Daymark, My Possibilities in Plano, Brookwood in Brookshire is a great one. Marbridge, of course, it's out near Austin. Next Step Transition Center, Reach Unlimited, Summer House, the Hub in Houston. Hub stands for Heard, Understood, and Believed in. And then there's the Monarch School in Houston as well. So since we are based in the Houston area, we've heard a lot about Monarch and Hub. If you have experiences that you would like to share on any of these other programs, or you know, what you've seen in the past, you can go ahead and put that in the comment box, and then other people can read your comments. Keep it positive though, please. We're not here to put anybody down or to start any arguments. So just keep it positive. So there are traits that your student will need to have when you're trying to succeed and trying to move on to college. First of all, self-awareness. Successful college participants or post-secondary education participants have to show an awareness of what their strengths and weaknesses are, both in academic and non-academic areas. And this is, part of I know that VR training through the Texas Workforce Commission, which we're going to talk about, does a lot of testing and helping kids see what their strengths and weaknesses are. But you can help them with that too, just discussing these things with your child. Proactivity, perseverance, goal setting for themselves. These are things that, as their children in elementary and high school, a lot of this stuff might kind of be done for them. When you're coming into post-secondary education, or you're thinking about what's going to happen after high school, these are things that they're going to have to start doing themselves. Being proactive, being self-aware, standing up for themselves, self-advocacy. Sometimes you might want to practice these things with them. Effective social support systems and emotional coping strategies. Before they're out of your control, out of your grasp, and maybe go to a program, you have to help them understand and work with them on these things. And I'm sure that all of you have been doing this year after year after year as they grow up. But it's important to remember that, some, not all, but some of their academic programs so far might not be focusing on these things. And it's important to make sure that they kind of have a handle on what their responsibilities are and what traits they need to have to be able to succeed. So definitely working with them on these items would be helpful before they go out to the next steps. When you're looking at different colleges all over the country, all over Texas, they all have an Office of Disability, but you want to do your homework because they're not all created equally. Some of them, the Office of Disability might be one person. Some of them have a robust, active Office of Disability with a really good hold on the community at that college or that school. So you need to look into it in advance and see what they have available, what resources are there for your student before putting them into that situation. For ACT and SAT and AP exams, all those college courses and graduate level exams, things like that, any accommodations that you had previously don't necessarily transfer over to higher education. So you need to contact all of those different organizations, the AP organization, the ACT and SAT, and get accommodations if you need those for your student and have those arranged ahead of time. You want to check what their requirements are and be prepared. And like I said, figure out what your student needs and ask for them and be able to tell them, why does your child need that to succeed? And they'll work with you. We do recommend that you present them with updated testing as much as possible. Every 3 to 5 years, redoing some testing would be great in an ideal situation. I know it's not always that easy, but some things to think about. Do you have power of attorney over your student? That's something that's important when kids go away to college, actually for all parents to think about. My child is 21 years old. He's in college in Chicago right now, studying music. He does not have a disability, but because he's an adult, if something happens to him while he's away at school and I don't have any kind of medical power of attorney or anything signed from him saying that I'm, able to communicate with his doctors, there's no obligation for them to communicate with me. So you have to keep that in mind actually for all kids, who are becoming young adults. you have to have that power of attorney or something in place to make sure that they'll talk to you. When it comes to work, a reasonable accommodation by the workplace is required as long as it doesn't cause unnecessary hardship to the employer. You know, of course, they should put in ramps and things like that. But if it's got to be, 14 levels of ramps and no elevator and it's an undue hardship. Well, I mean, that's a bad example. I'm trying to think of an example. I can't really think of one, but I think you see what I'm saying. The Department of Labor can also help you, and the Job Accommodation Network. So those links are down there. When you get the slides later on today, those links will be clickable. What if you have guardianship and they want to potentially go away to college? How does that work? Well, if you have guardianship over them, I mean, they can still go away to college as long as you, as their guardian, have everything in place. And I mean, kids under the age of 18 go away to college sometimes, and their parents are still their guardians. But that should be outlined in your guardianship. And you might want to talk to the attorney who drew that up for you to make sure that everything in terms of those questions is answered. So having guardianship, the special needs trust, power of attorney, your will, those sorts of things fall under the guidance of an attorney. And we are not attorneys at Consolidated Planning Group. We can refer you to a great one, but we don't work with attorneys and we don't do that portion of it. So, and I'm happy to, let you know when we're going into an area that might require expert legal counsel instead of expert financial counsel. So here is a whole large list of other in-state educational options beyond high school. Some of these colleges have great programs built in to help special needs students really thrive. The VAST Academy, Life Path at Lone Star College, the PATHS program at A&M or Aggie Achieve, CASE program at Texas Tech, E4 Texas at UT. There's all kinds of great programs. And again, you will be able to find out about these by thinking about what your student wants in a college program. What do they want to study? Contacting their offices of disability and working with them to figure out where the right place is. There is also the Texas Success Initiative Assessment. So the TSIA is part of the Texas Success Initiative, and it was enacted by the Texas State Legislature, and it is designed to determine your students' readiness for college-level coursework in reading, writing, and math. And you can go learn more about it at the TEA website, the Texas Educational TEA Authority Association. Anyway, at the TEA website, you'll be able to find out more information about that. This link is not clickable. Agency, thank you. This link will be sent to you. Like I said before, we're going to send these slides out. If you're thinking of out-of-state educational opportunities, you want to look at thinkcollege.net. That is a great website. It's not .org or .com, which I thought the other day they were, but it's .net. And they can help you understand all the great programs out there. There's over 300 different colleges that you can get more information on that offer post-secondary education programs specifically for students with intellectual disability or other kinds of disabilities. You can use a searchable online tool that they have to check out different states and programs and the type of school and campus life and all of that stuff. So thinkcollege.net is a really great resource for you. One consultant that we know of who we've heard she does great things, Jody Glau. She is the founder and owner of Custom College Consulting. And she works with students who have learning challenges and helps them find their best fit. So Jody's information is here for you. Again, we don't get anything from recommending her. She doesn't work for us. We don't work for her. It's just another resource for you that we have heard does really good things. CLE, the College Living Experience. Now, this is a really cool program, and the thinkcollege.net website has a lot more information about which schools do a CLE, college learning experience. But this provides individual post-secondary guidance and instruction to students to help them with their academics and career development, independent living skills, and social development. And so you definitely want to check into that and see what is available there through the college living experience. Another, as I just brought up, social development, another group that we've recently started working with, and she's not in our presentation yet, but I do feel like she is probably building a path to get into our presentation because she does a lot of great things, is quirkybuds.com. This is a girl who is a social worker, but she started this little project where you answer a few questions about your student, or if you're self-advocating about yourself, and she helps connect you with other people who have the same challenges and the same interests, and finding a buddy for your child. And it's really cool. So she can help with that. I put the website in the chat box for you there, and it's completely free. CLE, going back to the CLE, I'm so sorry, College Living Experience, CLE. Here is their contact information. They even have a virtual open house. You can check, you can email them for information about that. Again, this contact information, when we send the slides, it'll be all clickable, and you'll be good to go. Jody never replied. Your inquiry for which? Oh, Jody Glau. I would say, Jody Glau is busy. I mean, like I said, we don't work for her and she doesn't work for us. So just keep trying to reach out. All of these programs, they're trying to help as many people as humanly possible. And I know how sometimes things can get backed up. I've heard that about a couple of different programs. I would say just be persistent. Bloom Consulting and their Campus Connections program is another great resource that you might want to consider. They help support neurodiverse college students with all kinds of different disabilities in the post-secondary institution of their choice. There might be virtual support or in person, but they help with planning and supporting the students with a coach who's going to help them with mentoring and guidance and even navigational support, really help students learn how to problem solve and self-advocate and go after their concerns more effectively. Now, this does have a cost of $1,000 a month, and it is private pay only, but we've heard that you can contact the Texas Workforce Solutions VR program, contact your VR counselor for a possible sponsorship for this. So there might be ways to help pay for Bloom Consulting. Workforce Solutions. So this is another one that I've heard they might be a little bit behind, but be persistent. This is a great way to teach your child. It's a learning moment, right? Teach your kid that, hey, we haven't heard from them yet. It's been a couple weeks. Let's reach out again. Let's self-advocate. Let's show them how to be frustrated and yet be polite and go back for a second try, and how to work these things out. Workforce Solutions does a lot of fantastic training, and they offer scholarships. They can really help your child figure out what their impediments to working are and how can you overcome those things. You can sign up online. You self-refer. It's called My VR Vocational Rehab. And there's links here for you. So we've got that taken care of. Or you can contact Anna. She's the Student Hireability Navigator. But they help, they test students and help them figure out what their goals are and what career might be a good fit. What would be something that not only they're really interested in, but realistically that they can do and would enjoy. And different programs that are out there. Are you able to explain what a navigator is as opposed to a VR counselor? No, I don't know the difference between a a navigator and a VR counselor. I suspect that they might be the same thing though. So pre-employment transition services through the Texas Workforce Solutions Workforce Commission VR program. All this information here about that. There are tools and resources available. And I'm sure that they would be able to answer that question if there's a difference between your navigator and your VR counselor. But they'll help you assess skills and interests, what jobs are hot, what's making money, who's hiring, how can your student really get out there and find a good working solution. So this is generally for students with disabilities between 14 and 22 years old. You can start as early as 14, so that's good. And there's plenty of information there. They help with work readiness, problem solving, being a team player, counseling, work-based learning, which is where your student could get paid to work and learn, which is a great, it might be job shadowing or a simulated job experience, but they gain experience and mentorship. So that's great. I'm seeing lots of great things in the chat box. I'm going to let Tawana take that answer. Thank you, Tawana, for being here. She is with Texas Workforce. So thank you, Tawana, for answering that question, if you could. So all of these programs seem great, right? And you're thinking, okay, but how am I going to pay for that? So let's talk a little bit about that. A couple of the programs I've mentioned are free, but you could also file a FAFSA if your kid is especially interested in going to college, the free application for federal student aid. So the FAFSA opens on October 1st. You need to fill out that form every year. Even if you think that you make too much money to qualify for aid, it's still important that you figure that out. And even if you think that your child is not going to go to college, they might surprise you. My younger son graduated this past year from high school and said he did not want to go to college, but we filled out the FAFSA anyway because his school down here in the Houston area required that every student fill out the FAFSA as a graduation requirement. So we filled it out, even though we thought there was no reason to. And then he really surprised us and said he might want to go to a tech school to learn about working on cars. So it's a good thing we filled that out. So go ahead and fill out your FAFSA. Let me tell you what Tawana said. She says she is a navigator, and she is a link for most of VR to ensure that the students receive their pre-employment training services, and refers students to VR for their direct services, like the counselors. So she's the navigator. She'll help hook you up with the correct programs and with a counselor. Very good. Thank you, Tawana. So there's the FAFSA. will help you get federal student aid. There's also plenty of scholarships out there, and we have a long, long list of scholarships coming up. There is basically a scholarship for anything out there, any disability, family situations, subjects that your students might be interested in learning about. It doesn't have to be a sport. It can be community-based. There's scholarships because you live in this certain neighborhood. There's school-based scholarships. There's disability and disease-based, if you have this, or even if you're the sibling of a student who has this. Sport, music, band, foreign language, chess club, you never know. You just have to look. And it's, it can be daunting. We suggest that you make a spreadsheet, have an idea of which scholarships you are interested in and your child might qualify for. Make a list of when they're due and what you need to do for those scholarships and how much you might be able to get from them. And don't spend too much time on writing a 40-page essay to get a $50 scholarship, of course, but prioritize and work your way through it. You should also, do that research, prepare in advance as much as possible, and know what your deadlines are because they're all different for different scholarships. So Tawana has put her email in the chat box if anybody would like to talk to her about more of the VR program and Texas Workforce. There's also, the College Savings Plan, 529C is the College Savings Program. This is a place where money can grow tax-free, and when you pull it out, you can use it to pay for college. Now, there is also an ABLE account, which is the 529A ABLE account. And an ABLE account can be used to pay for school, but also to pay for anything that might improve the life or help improve the life of a disabled child. You can put up to $16,000 into an ABLE account each year, and even more if your child is working. But you don't want to have more than $100,000 in an ABLE account total, because that could mess up some of your other benefits, of course. They make it about as clear as mud, but we're here to help you get through it and figure all of that stuff out. And I'm going back up to see one of the questions that was asked earlier, now that I'm on the topic of ABLE accounts. And I can't remember if we have a whole slide dedicated to this later, so I'm going to say it now. I was asked, if you're focused on Texas, does that apply to the ABLE accounts, or do you look outside of Texas for those? Other state options might be better, and what can we access? So a lot of states, I'm not going to say every state, but almost every state has their own version of an ABLE account. You do not have to use the state that you live in. Some states do a really, really great job of making it easy for parents to understand, making it easy for students to get their money out. Like, they'll give you a credit card or link it directly to your bank account. Some states do a really great job finding companies to invest that money so that the money can grow. Other states, not so much. They maybe came late to the party. Pardon me. They maybe came late to the party and didn't really bring a great hostess gift. You know what I'm saying? So we can definitely recommend some better ABLE account options, and we can help you sign up for those. So I would love, if you have specific questions about an ABLE account, I would love for you to schedule some time to chat with us at Consolidated Planning Group, and we can talk you through that. And that would be a completely free conversation. If you already have a 529C, the college savings account, you can easily open an ABLE account and roll that over if you need to. If you thought, oh, my baby, I'm so excited, I'm going to open a college account. And then they get older and you see, maybe that's not going to be the right path for them. Yes, you can roll that money into a 529A ABLE account. And again, we can help you with that. There's also, of course, the VR program, again, vocational rehab. They might be able to help support some funding for you if it's in line with the goals that are established within your student's plan. They might be able to help with that. So they're a great program. The Texas Department of Family and Protective Services has given a state tuition waiver. So if you have adopted a child through the state, through the Texas Department of Family and Protection Services, they go to college pretty much for free. So that's available. There's a link there for you. Do ABLE accounts affect their benefits? So that's what I was saying. You can put $16,000 a year into an ABLE account, but you should not have more than $100,000 total in your ABLE account, or that will affect their benefits. Okay. Scholarship searches are here for you. I know I've said it, but I'm going to say it again. You can all repeat with me. When I send you these slides, all of these links will be clickable, and you should get that later on this afternoon. This is being recorded, and you'll get a link to the recording, and you'll get all of these slides. So you can hop on these different scholarship searches and check things out to find things that might be right for you. I mean, if you're left-handed, if you're blue-eyed, and there's even great scholarships that are like contests, like I don't know if you've ever heard about the duct tape scholarship, where a student can make their prom outfit out of duct tape and win a large scholarship for that. There's some fun stuff out there, some easy, some harder. You might want to consider having your child do some volunteer work, and we're talking about serious volunteer work, not just 1 or 2 hours. We'll get into that when we talk about the Terry Scholarship. So when we talk about the Terry Foundation, they provide a full ride 4-year scholarship. And it is fantastic. It helps just close that gap. The Terry Foundation is based in Houston. It's the largest scholarship provider in the whole state of Texas. And actually, the founder of our company, Allison, the founder of Consolidated Planning Group, her daughter went to school, Sam Houston, on a Terry scholarship. So the reason she was able to get that scholarship is because she did hours and hours and hours and hours of volunteer work, not just once or twice at church, I help serve food or whatever. It was like 900 hours, and she was able to get a full ride to school. If your child is interested in volunteer work, please make sure that it's meaningful and worthwhile and substantial. But it's a great way to get scholarships, is to do volunteer work. Join clubs and organizations that are out there helping people. The Terry Foundation Scholarship, they want students who show leadership potential, character, a good scholastic record and ability, and the financial need. There's an in-person interview process. You can apply through all of these schools listed here. And then, if you get that scholarship through that school, that's where you go, of course. I think Allison said that her daughter applied for the Terry Scholarship through all of the schools, because if one school offers you a Terry Scholarship, well, that school's paid for, why not go there? if it works for you, if they've got a good program and things that your kid are interested in. That's just one way to do it. But again, this is a great program. The students receive ongoing support, alumni networking, and service opportunities, of course. They want to keep those kids doing service opportunities. More scholarships. I know, I'm not going to read through all of these with you. We're already at 40 minutes, so I don't want to waste time on this, but you can read through them and you can see that really there are so many opportunities out there for scholarships for different situations. And you should be looking for them. They're there to help and they're available to you. Another thing that I learned through my son going to college is, I never knew this before I met with some people who let me know, but you can negotiate financial aid that the college offers you. Maybe they're gonna send you a letter and they're gonna say, well, your federal student financial aid from the FAFSA is going to be this much, and we're going to give you a scholarship, a music program scholarship or a dean's scholarship for X amount of dollars. Maybe we're going to give you $5,000 a year for this dean's scholarship. So you'll come here. You can write back to them and say, well, we really, really appreciate that $5,000 scholarship that you're offering us. And gosh, my son really wants to go to your school, but I just don't see how it's feasible. And, if you could give a little more, if we could negotiate that scholarship and maybe, if we could afford to pay this much. So if you guys could just give $2,000 or $3,000 more in his scholarship, they'll negotiate with you. And you could get even more money from them by writing them a letter back. So that's something that I wasn't aware of until my time came. So take that into consideration as well. Here's even more scholarships. There's Hemophilia Foundation, MS Society, Asthma Scholarship, plenty for learning disabilities, cognitive disabilities scholarship. You might even want to look at your employer. If you work for a large company or even a small company, do they have any scholarship programs that you might be able to tap into for your student? My husband was able to get a small scholarship from his mother's workplace. Of course, this was 100 million years ago, so that small scholarship went a lot further then than it would now. But, check into different things, different clubs. There's tons out there. There's the Wheelchair Scholarship, Amputee Coalition, Medical Scrubs Collection Scholarship. I mean, who knew? But just look, Rent a Knee Walker Scholarship, the Spin Life Scholarship, Schizophrenia Lilly Reintegration Scholarship. All of these are going to be sent to you. There's scholarships for anyone who is visually impaired. The American Council of the Blind, Federation for the Blind Veterans, Christian Record Services for the Blind, National Federation. Here's another thing. When I was looking for scholarships to pay for my own education, as I said, 100 million years ago, my grandparents had formed a club with their friends called, we were in the Northwest Indiana, kind of right on the Illinois-Indiana border area. That's where I grew up. So this was called the Illiana Club for Traditional Jazz. And their jazz club wasn't like a location. It's like a chess club, I guess, whatever. So their club hosted all these concerts, and I had been a member since I was born. My grandpa gave me my own little membership ID card. And I went to all these great jazz concerts and met all these fantastic people. And when I was getting ready to go to college, I thought, I wonder if the Club for Traditional Jazz has any money to do a scholarship. And at that time, I was studying education, but they did have scholarships for students who were studying music. So that's something else to think of. What clubs are you in that might be able to help? There's a great thing called the PEO Sisterhood, Philanthropic Educational Organization, PEO, and they might be able to help your student. Again, Epic Wheels, the Horatio Alger Association, Health Products for Youth Scholarship. There's law school scholarships, the Springboard Foundation. Here are some books even that you might want to consider. Colleges That Change Lives is a great book that goes through schools that will really change the way you think about colleges. And what I want you to think about when you're talking about colleges is, I mentioned negotiating scholarships with schools. That is much more likely to happen at a private college, a small private college, rather than a large state school. They have a lot more flexibility, and you might be able to negotiate the cost of a small private college that would have smaller class sizes more than you could negotiate with a larger school. So the cost differential will become much more even once you get all those scholarships, and it might be worth it to check those out. There's the Fisk Guide to Colleges. That's a great bit of informational book as well. All right, now we've only got about 15 minutes left. So if you have questions, now is the time to start getting into the chat box for me and leaving those questions. I'm going to go through some of the things that when you're thinking about special needs planning, you should be thinking about. But as I go through these, I'll watch for questions and we can get it all wrapped up on time. So these are topics that we discuss at Consolidated Planning Group every single day. We do these webinars, we have webinars on almost all of these topics, and we can help you figure this stuff out and navigate, how to develop a comprehensive special needs care plan. That's where, we can kind of look at the benefits, the government benefits that your child could get versus the expenses of care for the rest of their life. And what is that going to look like? What is that future care cost estimate? If your child is maybe a good fit for residential care, how much does that cost? Or partial residential care? Most of you by this age should be familiar with the Texas waiver program and be on the interest lists. We can help you with that. We can help make sure you're on the lists and get to the right phone numbers. SSI and SSDI, when your kid turns 18, they should be able to get SSI. We can help you maximize those benefits and make sure you get the full $841 a month and that you don't do anything to jeopardize those benefits. ABLE accounts. Now you can open an ABLE account yourself through one of the various programs, or you could consult with us and we can help you open one. Again, you can only put in $16,000 a year. Unless your child is working. However, if they're working, they might not qualify for SSI, but we can help figure all that out. The ABLE account should not go above $100,000. And yeah, there's different states. Feel free to contact us to chat about ABLE accounts or any of these topics really. Beneficiary designations, we can help make sure that you don't have your child listed as a beneficiary on anything that would jeopardize their benefits, because if they have over $2,000 in their name, that could be trouble. A special needs trust, and where is the money going to come from to go into the special needs trust, and how does that all work? We can help you with those things. A quick note about that. If you are in a situation where there's child support and that child support is going to continue past age 18, then that child support payment needs to be redirected into a special needs trust, or else it will count as income towards your child. And then they have income and then they don't qualify for SSI. So SSI, if your child is a minor, they're under the age of 18, then SSI or the Social Security Administration will look at your parents' income. So as long as the child is under age 18, they probably will not qualify for SSI because the parents might have more than $2,000 or $3,000 if they're married dollars in their name. When your child turns 18, they should qualify for SSI on their own because you have made sure that they do not have more than $2,000 in their name. So that pivotal point of turning 18 is where the SSI application really becomes a big deal. So if you're having questions about that, reach out to us. You can chat with us for free, no problem. If grandparents or any other aging adults in your life want to leave money for a child, they need to make sure that they leave it to the trust, not to the child directly. If your child is listed directly as a beneficiary on anything, your bank account, your life insurance, any inheritance, if they're listed as the beneficiary, this money is going to go to Evan Morris when I pass away, that will take away their benefits. If the will says this money is going to go to the Special Needs Trust for the benefit of Evan Morris, then they're in the clear. And again, just sign up for a chat with us and we can walk you through all that. You might want to start touring residential living facilities early. Again, with scholarships, with choosing a college, with choosing a residential facility, you need to start ahead and plan ahead because there are different criteria, so many different options, and different, likes and dislikes and what they will accept and what their requirements are. And it all has to come together. Plus the fact that there might be waiting lists once you find your ideal place. So the earlier that you can plan, the better. If you're considering guardianship, maybe guardianship at the top level isn't what you need. Maybe a power of attorney or healthcare power of attorney or just supported decision-making. You can start working on guardianship when you're within 6 months of your kid turning 18. Now, those are things, again, an attorney will need to take care of guardianship, your power of attorneys, your special needs trust, your will, those sort of things. So you would need to talk to an attorney about guardianship, but you can start doing that at around 6 months. And do consider power of attorney and healthcare power of attorney for your typical neurotypical kids too. We've talked a ton today about post-high school education options and what is out there. We can help with guidance on that if you have more questions. And community-based care facilities, they typically have a waiting list too. We do have lists of people and entities who set up ABLE accounts. However, we have one that we recommend and we can help you get that set up. You just need to set up some time to speak with us and we can help you. So Consolidated Planning Group, again, we are based just outside of Houston. Allison and Jeff are the owners of the company. They have 4 kids and two of them have special needs. So that's why we are so involved in planning and advocating and helping you through the maze of special needs. There's myself, my glamour shot, and my husband. We are the other half of the advisors at Consolidated Planning Group. And then we have Meredith, who puts together all these fantastic webinars for us. We are members of the Academy of Special Needs Planners. We are also National Social Security Advisors and members of the $1 Million Roundtable. That just credentials that show that we know what we're doing and we do a lot of work. So this is my last slide. So again, if you want to get a question out there that I haven't answered yet, or if I've missed your question, please get it in the chat box. But really, we do free consultations every single day. Some of them are 15 or 20 minutes. Some of them are an hour. It depends on how many questions you have. So what we do is your initial consultation. We want to learn more about you and your situation. We want to answer as many of the questions that are keeping you up at night right now as possible. We answer your questions. We learn about you and your family. And then we go on and tell you about us and about how we work and what we charge and that kind of thing. And then we see if we would be a good fit for paid services, or if you just have a few questions that you wanted answered, we can take care of that. Or if you just want us to look at one or two things that is not one of our planning packages, we could do that as well. So we make it really easy for you to schedule an appointment. You can use this QR code. I think everyone knows how to do this by now, but if not, you just take your cell phone, hold it up and open your camera. And when you click the link that pops up, it will take you straight to our calendar system, and you can just book yourself on a day and time that works for you. And you'll get either myself, Allison, or Andy. It's on a rotation. Or you can call the office at 281-690-1177 or email contact@cpgcares.net to get an appointment scheduled. My email, I already put in the chat box, is mmorris@cpgcares.net. And also please like and follow us on Facebook. Our YouTube channel, the last thing that I have to say is there as well. And that's where we put all of these webinars we do. They live on our YouTube channel, so you can watch them later if you miss anything. Slides will come in your email along with my contact info, all this contact info, and Dee's contact info later on this afternoon. So again, thank you. Yes.
For people who are not in the Houston area, can they make virtual appointments or telephone appointments?
All of our appointments are on Zoom. Yes, all of our appointments are virtual, whether you live around the corner from me, which I have had, or if you live on the other side of Texas or in a different state even.
That's great for people who aren't local then.
Right. And the reason we do that is because we work with so many special needs families that, first of all, a lot of them tell us that they need to find babysitting for their children to come to a meeting with us, or they need to take time to drive to us to an office, and that's just not feasible. Another reason that we do only virtual meetings is because of the coronavirus issue. You know, this is a population that we work with that has a lot of healthcare needs and disabilities. We don't want to be spreading that virus or any other virus around. So it's just much easier for everyone involved. We use secure emailing and Dropbox and Zoom to do our business.
Well, that's good. We've all learned how to do a lot of things remotely, haven't we?
Yes, yes. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. And thank you so much, Dee, for hosting us and sharing our information. It's always fantastic to present with you guys. I'm not seeing any more questions come through, so I think we're good. And if you'll all just keep an eye on your email, you'll hear from us, from Meredith, a little bit later today.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Michelle. We just appreciate all that great information and those good resources.
Thank you. All right. Enjoy the rest of your week. Remember, we're here for you if you have questions. Bye-bye.